Disclaimer. This content is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. My name is Aaron, and I'm 39 years old. I don't really know how to begin this, except to say, I used to be someone else. Someone lighter. Freer. Someone who laughed more. And now, sometimes when I look in the mirror, I don't recognize the woman staring back. My skin still fits, but everything inside feels misaligned. Like my soul is wearing someone else's coat. I used to think marriage was where I'd find myself. That deep kind of love, the kind that anchors you, the kind that makes sex feel like poetry, you know? I thought I'd found it with Mark. God, when we met, he had this quiet charm, this sharp wit that always caught me off guard. I'd come over to help my sister fix her leaky sink and he was the neighbor who stepped in, all handy and warm-smiled. We joked about fate, exchanged numbers over a busted faucet. That turned into late-night calls, weekend road trips, morning coffee in bed. And in those early years, we couldn't keep our hands off each other. I still remember one night in our first apartment, the power went out, and instead of lighting candles, we stumbled around in the dark, laughing, kissing, bumping into furniture. We didn't even make it to the bed. Just tangled up on the floor, whispering things we meant at the time. But time is a thief with soft feet. These days, his kisses land on my cheek like a reminder, like, hey, I'm your husband. Not like desire. Not like hunger. Even when he does wrap his arms around me in bed, there's a stiffness to it. I catch myself stiffening too, as if my body already knows this isn't what it needs anymore. We still sleep beside each other, but the middle of the bed might as well be an ocean. The worst part? We haven't fought. Not really. There's no big betrayal, no shouting matches. It's just erosion. Little pieces of us washing away every day. I tried to talk about it a few times, about feeling like I'm not really seen anymore, but he just smiles and says, I love you, you know that, right? As if that should be enough. But it isn't. Not when I miss being touched like I matter. Not when my body aches for something more than duty. Not when I lie awake after he's fallen asleep, listening to the soft snores of a man who used to stay up all night memorizing the shape of my collarbone. There was a moment, I remember it too well, that finally snapped something inside me. It was a Sunday afternoon, and we were hosting a birthday barbecue for his son, Ryan, from his first marriage. Ryan's 21 now, home from college. He's quiet but observant, always watching people like he's trying to read between their words. Mark had been fiddling with the new grill, trying to look competent in front of the guests. I was plating burgers inside, sweaty and flustered and wondering why I even bothered to put on makeup when Mark hadn't looked at me twice all day. Ryan came in with his phone. Hey Aaron, Dad wants a video of the cake moment. You want me to film it? And I don't know what hit me, I said, sure, go videotape it. But I said it, sharp. Like it was some inside joke. Like I was mocking something bigger. I remember the look Ryan gave me. Curious. Like he could tell that line meant more than it should have. That's when I realized, I wasn't just tired. I wasn't just bored. I was done pretending this still felt like love. And that's terrifying. Because I've built a life with Mark. A life that looks perfect from the outside. But inside, I'm disappearing. And no one, not even him, seems to notice. And maybe, just maybe, someone else already has. Mark is a physical guy. Always has been. He's a paramedic, which means he's used to chaos, responding fast, thinking fast, fixing things with his hands. That's how he shows love, too. Touch. Tasks. Solutions. He'll come up behind me while I'm loading the dishwasher and wrap his arms around my waist. Kiss the back of my neck while I'm brushing my teeth. reach for my hand in public when I'm clearly miles away in my head. And I used to love that, his need to touch me, to claim me. But now, it just feels like noise. A substitute for listening. A shortcut to closeness that never really arrives. The morning after the barbecue, he brought me coffee in bed. I hadn't slept well. I kept seeing Ryan's expression when I made that snarky comment about the video. I kept feeling it. Like someone had accidentally cracked a window open in a sealed house. Mark sat on the edge of the bed and ran his hand over my thigh under the covers. Morning, beautiful. I smiled, automatically. My face doing its job. But inside, something sank. I made it strong. Just how you like it. He leaned in for a kiss, and I gave it to him. But when he deepened it, I pulled back, not all the way, just enough for him to notice. And he did. His brows knit, just for a second. Something wrong? No, just tired, I said, reaching for the coffee like it was a life raft. But that wasn't the truth. The truth was that I wanted him to ask why I was tired. I wanted him to notice the way I'd flinched. I wanted him to stop treating my body like the only access point to my heart. Later that afternoon, I was in the laundry room folding towels when he came in, leaned in the doorway, and said, "So, you want to go upstairs for a bit? Just us?" I froze mid-fold. I knew what he meant. And it made me feel small. Like I was something to tick off a list. As if he could tell something was off between us, and instead of asking why, he thought sex might reset it. "I've got 2 more loads," I said, trying not to sound cold. "And I have to prep for that board meeting tomorrow." "You're always busy lately," he said, stepping forward. "We haven't connected in weeks, Aaron. I miss you." His voice cracked, just a little, and that's what hurt the most, because I know he thinks he's trying. "I know," I said, setting down the towel. "But connection doesn't start in the bedroom, Mark. At least not for me." He frowned. "So what does it start with, then? I bring you coffee, I hold you at night, I kiss you every morning, what am I missing?" I looked at him, really looked. This man, this good man who saves strangers for a living, who never once walked out on a shift or a commitment, who could stop a bleeding artery but somehow couldn't stop me from feeling unseen. "I don't need more touches," I whispered. "I need more presence." He didn't speak. Just stood there, like he wasn't sure what I was saying. Like I was speaking a language he never learned. We sat in silence, him in the doorway, me with my hands buried in warm towels. It was the most honest moment we'd had in months, and still, nothing moved. That night, he tried again. He climbed into bed and spooned me, nuzzling into my neck, his palm resting on my hip. But I was already elsewhere. Eyes open. Facing the wall. Wondering when exactly I became the kind of woman who dreaded being touched by the man she once couldn't get enough of. And across the hallway, Ryan's bedroom door clicked shut. I thought of his eyes again. The way he watched me. The quiet understanding in them. It scared me more than it thrilled me, but it was the first time in a long while I felt, noticed. And that was the moment something dangerous started to flicker in me. Something I didn't yet have the name for. But it was coming. I'm in the kitchen cutting vegetables when Mark comes up behind me and smacks my butt, playfully. He laughs under his breath, leans down to kiss my neck. It's routine. This kind of affection used to make me smile. Used to make me turn and pull him in for more. But now? Now my whole body tenses. Not in fear, just resistance. "Don't," I say, softly. I don't even mean to. It just comes out. Like muscle memory. He freezes. "Too hard?" he asks, trying to sound casual. I force a smile. "No. I just, knives. I'm cutting." It surprised me. He steps back, hands up in surrender, like I'm dangerous now. All right. Sorry. He tries to make it a joke. I let him. But inside, the air has already thickened. That moment sticks to us like something spilled between the floorboards. Later that evening, we're on the couch. A movie playing we've both already seen. Mark stretches his arm behind me and pulls me in under his shoulder. His hand rests on my upper arm, rubbing small circles with his thumb. It's nice. I want to relax into it. I do. But every time his thumb strokes over the same spot, my mind starts to race. Is this going somewhere? Is he going to try tonight? Did I give off a signal I didn't mean to? Do I have the energy to fake wanting it if he pushes? I shift slightly. He notices. He always does. You okay? He murmurs, not even looking at me. Yeah. Just a weird angle. My neck's stiff. He says nothing, but I feel his arm drop from around me after a beat. He shifts too, away from me. I pretend not to notice, but the silence between us sharpens. He gets up 20 minutes later and heads upstairs without a word. I follow after finishing up dishes, climbing into bed while he's brushing his teeth. When he comes out, he pauses at the door for a second, like he's measuring something. Then he switches off the light and slides in beside me. His hand finds my waist under the blanket. Slowly, carefully. He kisses my shoulder, soft, familiar. I don't move. I don't stop him either. I just go still, like maybe if I don't react, it won't become a thing. Hey, he whispers. You're so quiet lately. I close my eyes. Just tired. You've been tired every night this week. I don't answer. Not because I'm being cruel, but because I don't know how to say it without breaking something between us. He shifts closer, kisses the back of my neck again. His hand slides a little lower on my waist. I feel the intention rising in him, gentle but clear. And suddenly I feel trapped. Suffocated. Like I'm betraying myself by lying still. I roll onto my stomach, pretending to reposition. Early meeting, I mumble. Should sleep. There's a long silence. Right, he says. No anger, just resignation. That hurts worse. He turns over too, facing away. I stare at the ceiling, the guilt building in waves. Because I don't want to reject him. I don't want to be this cold, shut-down version of myself. I want to want him again. I want the spark back. I want to feel his touch and not instantly retreat into my head. But I can't seem to access that part of me anymore. Not with him. Not like this. I shift onto my side, tucking the blanket up to my chin, like it might shield me from the truth. And the thought hits me again, raw, bitter, and humiliating. Why does everything have to turn into sex? It happened over lasagna. Homemade. From scratch. I even made the garlic bread. I don't know why I tried so hard, maybe I thought if I acted like we were fine, we'd be fine. Like dinner could erase the silence that had been simmering between us all week. Ryan was over again. He'd come by to help Mark install a new water filter under the sink. He'd brought some camera equipment too. He's taking a media course now, doing these little freelance video projects on the side. I half listened as he explained something about frame rates while we sat down to eat. I served everyone, poured wine, smiled. I was performing normal like a seasoned actress. Then, out of nowhere, Mark reached over and brushed a bit of sauce from the corner of my mouth with his thumb. A soft, affectionate gesture. And something inside me snapped. I jerked my head away, too hard for the moment. Too obvious. The fork clattered against my plate. Mark blinked. What, did I hurt you? No, I said, shaking my head, suddenly aware of both of them staring at me. I just don't. Ryan froze mid-bite. The tension thickened so fast it was like we'd all been yanked underwater. Mark looked around, then gave an awkward laugh. Okay, sorry. Just a little sauce. I pressed my napkin to my lips like I was blotting blood instead. And then it happened. You always do that, I said, louder than I meant to. Touch me like it means something, but it's always just habit. You don't see me, Mark. You touch me, but you don't see me. He stared at me, fork in hand, dumbfounded. Where is this coming from? I couldn't stop. You haven't asked me how I am in weeks. You kiss me while I'm brushing my teeth, grab me when I'm cooking. Do you even notice when I flinch? Or is that just part of your routine now? Jesus, Aaron, he dropped his fork. Can we not do this in front of Ryan? Oh, suddenly you care about appearances? I laughed bitterly. You didn't seem to care last weekend when you barely said 2 words to me the whole barbecue. But sure, let's protect Ryan from the scary reality that his dad's marriage is crumbling. Ryan looked stunned. Embarrassed. He stood abruptly. I should go. No, I said too fast, too desperate. You don't have to, but he was already walking toward the door, grabbing his camera bag. Thanks for dinner, he mumbled, avoiding both our eyes. The door shut softly behind him. I stood there, chest heaving, tears brimming. Mark stared at me like I was someone he didn't recognize. What the hell was that? He asked. I don't know, I said, my voice cracking. Yes, you do. You just made a scene in front of my son over nothing. Nothing? I whispered. That's exactly it. That's what it feels like. Like I'm nothing to you anymore. Just something to touch and check off your list. He exhaled hard, pushing his chair back. You're making things into problems that don't exist, Aaron. We're fine. We're just busy. You're stressed, I get it, but don't put this on me. I covered my face with my hands. You don't get it. You never ask. You never even try. He didn't say anything. Eventually, he picked up his plate and carried it to the sink. Just like that, conversation closed. I sank into the chair, suddenly freezing. The room had gone dead silent. Even the fridge sounded far away. I felt sick. Embarrassed. Childish. Why had I dragged Ryan into it? Why had I exploded like that over a thumb swipe and a piece of garlic bread? I thought back to that moment at the barbecue. The way Ryan looked at me when I'd said, go videotape it. The way he lingered too long in the hallway that night. The way I had noticed him, not just as Mark's son, but as a person. A pair of eyes that saw me. And now. God. What if he'd seen too much? I dropped my head into my hands. Shame. That's what this was. Not anger. Not grief. Just shame. And I couldn't tell anymore if it was about the marriage, or about something else entirely. It's been 12 days since the dinner. We haven't talked about it. Not once. Mark and I moved through the house like people renting the same space but living separate lives. We talk about bills, work, groceries. The necessities. He stopped touching me, completely. And I thought that's what I wanted. I thought the silence would feel like relief. But it doesn't. It feels like grief. I miss him. Not just his body. I miss the way he used to hum when he cooked eggs, the way he'd leave his socks in the dryer and pretend they weren't his. I miss the random texts during the day, miss your face, or let's run away to the beach tonight. Now, the texts are dry. Don't forget we need propane. Did you take the trash out? The other night I walked into the living room and found him on the couch with his head in his hands. Just sitting in the dark. He didn't see me at first. When he did, he stood quickly and went to the kitchen. I wanted to follow. I wanted to reach out. Ask if he was okay. Tell him I didn't mean to hurt him. But I didn't move. Because how do you explain that you're grieving something that still exists? That you're lonely in the bed you share with someone who once knew how to make you laugh until you cried? The worst part is, I know I'm not the only one hurting. I see it on his face. I hear it in the way he sighs too loud when I walk past. In the way he lingers at the back door like he wants to leave but doesn't have a destination. He's not a villain. He's a man trying to love me the way he knows how. And I'm a woman who needs something she can't name until it's already missing. I sat in the guest room yesterday with a cup of tea, staring out the window for almost an hour. I thought about everything. About that dinner. About Ryan. He hasn't been over since. And part of me is relieved. The other part? The one I don't want to admit exists, it misses him too. Not in the way it should. But not in the way it shouldn't either. It wasn't about sex. It was about being seen. Feeling like someone was listening to what I didn't even say out loud. That kind of attention is addictive when you're starving for it. But Mark. He's always been here. Through every version of me. The strong ones. The messy ones. The distant ones. He stayed. And maybe I forgot that staying is a kind of love, too. So now I'm at a crossroads. I can keep drifting away. Let the silence thicken until it becomes permanent. Keep looking for affirmation in other eyes, in safer distances. Or I can turn toward him. Even if I'm scared. Even if I'm not sure he'll turn back. Tonight, we're supposed to have dinner together. Just us. No Ryan. No cameras. No distractions. He hasn't cancelled. I haven't cancelled. And maybe that means something. Maybe that's a thread I can still pull. Maybe there's still something worth saving. So I stand in the mirror, brush my hair back, and ask myself the only question that matters: do I still want him? Yes. Do I know how to find him again? No. But I think I want to try. The food grew cold on our plates before either of us touched it. We sat across the table in silence, 2 glasses of wine half full, the air dense with everything we hadn't said. The lasagna, again, a second attempt at recreating normal, sat untouched between us. Mark finally spoke first. You said I don't see you, he said quietly. That night. You said I touch you, but I don't see you. I looked at him, and for once, he held my gaze. I know I'm not the best with words, he continued. I grew up with a mom who only spoke when she was yelling. I learned to just do things. Fix things. Show love with my hands. That's what I know. I know, I said. I just wish you'd asked what I needed instead of assuming. He gave a faint, tired smile. I didn't think I had to ask. You used to grab me in the laundry room, remember? You were always the one who started things. I changed, I said. And I didn't know how to tell you without hurting you. That part, at least, was true. He nodded slowly, eyes falling to the table. And Ryan? The question was a gentle cut. No blame in his voice, just quiet curiosity, and maybe pain he didn't want me to see. I swallowed. It wasn't what you think. Nothing happened. But I think I wanted to be noticed. And he saw what you stopped seeing in me. That's all. Mark exhaled through his nose, then stood from the table. For a second, I thought he might walk away. But instead, he walked over to my side of the table, and sat next to me. His hand hovered near mine. I didn't stop loving you, he said. But maybe I stopped showing up the way you needed. And maybe you stopped needing me. The version I am. I never stopped needing you, I whispered. I just forgot how to ask. We sat there like that. No dramatic kiss. No grand reconciliation. Just two people acknowledging what was broken out loud for the first time. After a while, I leaned my head on his shoulder. His body was stiff, uncertain, but he didn't pull away. He kissed the top of my head. It didn't lead anywhere. It didn't need to. Later that night, I watched him fall asleep on the couch, TV still playing some old action movie in the background. I brought him a blanket and covered him gently. Then I sat on the edge of the armrest, looking down at the man I'd nearly forgotten how to reach. This wasn't a happy ending. Not yet. But maybe it was the beginning of something better, something honest. And maybe that was enough, for now. You think you know the moment things fall apart. That it'll be some huge blowout. A slammed door. A confession. A betrayal. But that's not how it happens, not in real life. In real life, it's quieter. It's 1,000 small moments you don't notice until they add up into something too big to ignore. A touch that feels different. A kiss that doesn't land right. Silence that stretches longer than it used to. Looking back now, I can't say it was just one thing. Not the dinner. Not Ryan. Not even Mark. It was me. It was us. I spent so long telling myself I was okay. That the cold shoulder in the hallway was just stress. That the way he reached for me in bed, even when I felt distant, was love. That sex would fix things. That it always had. But somewhere deep inside, I was starving. Not for sex. For connection. For someone to look at me and say, "Hey, are you still in there?" And not out of pity. Out of care. I used to think being touched meant being wanted. That as long as his hands were on me, we were fine. I didn't realize how wrong I was until I flinched under them. I didn't want less touch. I wanted touch that saw me. And Ryan. God, I never meant for that to become what it did in my mind. It started out innocent. His laugh. His curiosity. The way he actually listened when I talked about my paintings or how tired I'd been. That night, when I told him to videotape it, it was meant to be a joke. Mark and I were fixing up the old porch swing, and I thought, maybe if we record it, we'll look happy again. But Ryan saw something else. Or maybe I wanted him to. Maybe I needed to feel visible to someone again. It scared me, how easy it was to slip into that feeling. To chase attention like water in a drought. But I didn't cheat. I didn't cross that line. Still, emotionally, I was already gone. And so was Mark, in his own way. But here's the thing no one tells you about long-term love: you don't lose it in a single moment. You drift. Quietly. Like leaves separating in a current. And if you're lucky, if you're honest, you get a chance to paddle back. We did. Barely. That night, when he kissed my forehead instead of my mouth, I cried after he fell asleep. Because it was the most intimate thing we'd shared in months. And it had nothing to do with sex. It had everything to do with presence. We're not perfect now. I'm not sitting here telling you we lit a fire and became brand new lovers again. That's not how real life works. But I asked for what I needed. And for once, he didn't flinch. He didn't get defensive. He just heard me. And I listened, too. To how scared he'd been to touch me, afraid he was doing it wrong. To how confused he felt, thinking affection meant, try harder, not, slow down. We're still learning how to meet in the middle. Some nights, we still miss. We misread each other. We go quiet. But now, we circle back. Because here's what I've learned: desire fades when intimacy is lost. And intimacy dies when you stop seeing each other. Not just physically. Emotionally. Spiritually. I thought I needed to feel sexy again. Wanted. Touched. But really, I just wanted to feel known. So if you're listening to this, and you're somewhere in that quiet disconnect, where the air feels still and you're not sure who started drifting first, ask the question that matters: do I still want them? And if the answer is yes, even a whisper of yes, reach. Speak. Even if your voice shakes. Because silence will always feel safer. But love doesn't live in safety. It lives in risk. In eye contact that lingers. In saying, I'm still here, even when it hurts. That's what I've learned. And I hope you learn it before you tell someone else's son to go videotape it, just to feel seen.